So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. Let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into it. So Max Kellerman wants Canelo Alvarez to fight Artur Beterbiev. Now, Beterbiev is also, calling for the Canelo fight. And it looks like everybody wants Canelo. Why wouldn't you? He's the cash cow in the sport of boxing. He's the man. He's the man in boxing right now. Let's be honest. He's the, in my opinion, the best pound for pound fighter in the world. He's got the best resume in world boxing, apart from Manny, of course. And he's also the biggest star as well. So guys are going to call him out. Everybody wants to fight. Golovkin wants to fight him. Andrade wants to fight him. Charlo wants to fight him. But I said to you about Beterbiev, and a lot of Canelo fans attack me. Like I said, I'm always neutral on this channel. I've just given Canelo all that praise. But you've got to understand where I'm coming from. When Canelo, I believe he beats Billy Joe and Caleb Plant. And a lot of Canelo fans, oh, why are you talking about him fighting Beterbiev? Why are you talking about him fighting Beterbiev? You're disrespecting Saunders and Plant. No. I know how good Canelo is. I know he's going to beat those guys, in my opinion. But for me, I'm on the same page as Max Kellerman. If Canelo Alvarez wants to dare to be great, if Canelo Alvarez wants to take his star power to that next level of legend, like beating Beterbiev does that for him. Because I spoke to a lot of people and they don't think he beats Beterbiev. They think Beterbiev beats Canelo Alvarez. And I know a lot of you, of his fans, are going to say, no, he beats him. Listen, a lot of people thinks Beterbiev beats Canelo Alvarez. They don't think Billy Joe beats Canelo Alvarez. They don't think Caleb Plant beats Canelo Alvarez. They don't even think Charlo beats Canelo Alvarez. I know Charlo's got his fanboys that think he does, but let's be honest, most neutrals don't think he wins that fight. Most neutrals don't think Andrade beats Canelo. However, a lot of neutrals feel that Beterbiev would walk through Canelo. Timothy Bradley said that Canelo don't want that work. That's a problem. A lot of people think that Canelo Alvarez will get beat by Beterbiev. And don't get me wrong, there will also be people that think Canelo beats Beterbiev. I'm one of them. That's why I want to see it. If Canelo Alvarez wants to dare to be great, because that's what he would be doing. He'd be daring to be great. And what I mean by that, when you're daring to be great, you're moving up weight, putting yourself in a dangerous and vulnerable, uncomfortable position, right? Where things could go wrong because you're moving up weight classes and the guy is in his prime. I know Beterbiev, people say he's 36, but he's in his prime. He's fresh. He hasn't got many miles on the clock. He's knocked everyone that he's faced out. Hasn't had many tough fights. Beterbiev's got a lot of miles still on the clock. He's still fresh. So that you're putting yourself in a dangerous position. You're putting yourself in danger. In danger of losing. But I believe Canelo's that great that he could beat Beterbiev. And that's why I like to see it, because I want to see Canelo tested. I want to see Canelo pushed. And I feel that this fight with Beterbiev would be a daring to great fight for Canelo. See, Canelo's having fights right now where people expect him to win. People expect him to beat Andrade. People expect him to beat Charlo. People expect him to beat Billy Joe Saunders. People expect him to beat Caleb Plant. People not necessarily expect him. There's many people that don't think he beats Beterbiev. And you guys know this. Whether you're a Canelo fanboy or not, you guys know that a lot of people think Beterbiev beats Canelo. You've seen the stuff on social media. You've seen all of that. And I think the reason why I would love to see Canelo do it is because I'm a Canelo fan. I'll be honest with you. I'm open when I say that I which fighters I like. And I feel Canelo don't get the credit he deserves. Everybody says he's cherry picking. Everybody says he's this. I want Canelo to shut everybody up. I want Canelo, after he becomes undisputed, to go up to light heavyweight and destroy Beterbiev. Or not destroy him, but beat him. I would love to see that, because I feel that's what it's going to have to take. And then all these Charlo fans and all these Andrade fans that say he's ducking and dodging. Because, listen, once Canelo becomes undisputed, who's he going to fight? He's going to have an option either to fight someone like Charlo, Andrade, or Beterbiev. Who do you guys think is the tougher fight? I know even Charlo fanboys that said that he ain't going to fight Beterbiev because Beterbiev is a light heavyweight and he ain't going to go near that work. If Canelo Alvarez goes to Beterbiev, right? And I know a lot of you said, well, but Canelo offered the fight to Beterbiev. But listen, whatever. Canelo's the cash cow. He's the A side of any negotiation deal. If Canelo wants something, it'll happen. Right? If Canelo wants Beterbiev after he becomes... to be honest, I'm not talking about it now because I want him to do what he wants to do. 168. But if Canelo wants to continue boxing after that at the highest level... For me, there's only 3 fights, Andrade, Charlo, and Beterbiev. And for me, there's only one fight that trumps all of those fights. And that's and Golovkin. Let's put Golovkin in there. But who would you rather see him face? Charlo, Andrade, Golovkin, or Beterbiev? Who do you want to see him face daring to be great? Who do you think he'll get more credit beating? And that's who Canelo should go for. And to be honest, it's a no-brainer. He's not going to get credit for beating a 41-year-old Golovkin by the time, he gets round to that. He ain't going to get credit for, in my opinion, for beating Charlo or Andrade. People are going to say he's expected. Like Mike Tyson said, Charlo's not strong enough to beat Canelo. Many don't expect Charlo to beat Canelo. But many feel that Beterbiev beats Canelo. So now Canelo will be daring to be great. Let's not forget, Beterbiev also is the unified champion at light heavyweight. So Canelo will be beating the #1 light heavyweight right now, the #1 ranked light heavyweight out there. Canelo would have then conquered the 168-pound division, the best at 160, and then he would be considered the best at 175. Is Canelo Alvarez gonna dare to be great once because listen, becoming an undisputed champion is no joke. That's daring to be great. But what I'm trying to say is that those fights that he's having at 168, nobody expects Canelo to lose. Let's be real. Let's be honest. Be honest with yourself. Nobody expects Canelo to lose these fights. Right? But against Beterbiev now, that's a different story because many feel Beterbiev can beat Canelo. Let's be honest. You guys know. You guys see. Listen, all of you guys that come onto my channel, you guys are on social media. You're on Instagram. You're on Facebook. And you're in these boxing groups, Facebook groups. You're in these Instagram. You're following these Instagram pages. I know you guys know. I know you guys know what the talk is around Beterbiev Canelo. Right? The reason why I want Canelo to do it because I know Canelo can beat Beterbiev. It might be a risk. It might be a risk to him. But Canelo's always struck me as the type of guy that's willing to take that risk. I know a lot of people try to criticize and say Canelo takes risks. Canelo's not afraid of anyone. The Kovalev fight was a very tough fight for him. Up until he got the stoppage, Kovalev was doing well. Beterbiev's a different kind of fighter. Beterbiev's more of a pressure fighter. He comes and hunts you down. Is he going to be able to do that against someone like Canelo, who has a lot more, who's very, very good boxer, very good counter puncher? However, is Canelo's power going to be able to get rid of someone like Beterbiev? See, all of these questions need to be answered for me. And if I thought I was being harsh, where I thought Beterbiev's just too big, he's just too big. I don't think Beterbiev's too big for Canelo. Yeah, he may be bigger, he may be stronger, but I feel Canelo's boxing ability and Canelo's granite chin. A lot of people think Beterbiev walks through Canelo. Nobody walks through Canelo. What are you guys talking about? Beterbiev is good and he's strong and I get that, but Canelo is also big and strong. And he's got a great chin. And he's also got great power and he's the better boxer out of the two. He's also got a lot more experience at a much higher level than Beterbiev. Yes, I know Beterbiev had all those amateur fights, but as a pro, you have to say Canelo's been in there with all of them. Canelo's seen many different styles. He's fixed many puzzles. Like, trust me, man, Canelo's a very versatile fighter. He's improving fight on fight. I see a lot of Canelo fanboys. Here's the problem. They wouldn't want to see it because they don't want to see Canelo lose, or they don't want to see him in a situation where he potentially could lose. They just rather see him dominate. I know how good Canelo is. I know how great Canelo is. And I know Canelo could move up to 175 and beat that guy. You see, I look at that fight as a 50-50 fight, but Canelo's not got any 50-50 fights out there. If he carries on staying at 168, 160, right? Although I think he beats everyone quite comfortably. I don't think they're 50-50 fights as well. I think the Beterbiev fight's a 50-50 fight, and that just shows how great Canelo is, that a guy that started off at 154 is going to fight the best 175, and it's seen as a 50-50 fight. That just shows how great Canelo Alvarez is and how skilled he is. Because I genuinely, this is honest truth, I genuinely believe Canelo can beat him. I'm not just saying it for the sake of saying it to get views. I genuinely think he can beat him. I think if Canelo comes up with a good game plan, and he's got one of the best coaches in the world in Reynoso, they come up with a good game plan, Beterbiev is beatable for Canelo. 100%. Canelo's got power. Yes, he's got power to hurt Beterbiev. Beterbiev got put down by Callum Johnson. Very good domestic fighter in the UK. Callum Johnson. Very big and strong and can punch. But he's no Canelo Alvarez. If Callum Johnson can hurt Beterbiev, then you better believe it, Canelo can hurt him. And Canelo's a lot better boxer than Callum Johnson. He's more versatile. He's just got more about him. His own game. We can't even compare a British domestic fighter to a legend basically in Canelo. So a lot of people, they don't give Canelo that credit. I feel, when he deserves a lot of credit, and I feel this would just shut everyone up, because I don't think anyone can say anything if he goes up and beats Beterbiev. I don't care. Like, even if you're a Charlo fan or Andre fan, they're still going to look for excuses. They're going to say, oh, Beterbiev was old. They'll still find excuses. But let me tell you something. The real boxing fans, which give Canelo credit now, to be fair, would look at that as some achievement. That would be... I can't think of a modern fighter that has got a victory like that in recent times. That would be a phenomenal win, because Beterbiev right now is a monster at 175. I know a lot of people say he hasn't fought Bivol. For me, Beterbiev beats Bivol. And I personally think Canelo needs to go for the top dog, because I believe he can beat the top dog at a light heavyweight. And imagine if Canelo beats Beterbiev. Imagine he would be the #1 light heavyweight in the world. He'd be the #1 light heavyweight in the world. So he'd be the undisputed 168. He'd be considered the #1 at 160, because he was the #1. He beat Golovkin, and then he would beat the #1 guy. That he could end his career after that. He could end his career. For me, I would want him to, if he wants to continue, he could. But I think he should. You could retire after that. You've achieved it. You've done it. That's it. You're an all-time great. People say he's an all-time great now, but that would just cement him as one of the greatest. One of the greatest. It's going to be difficult for Canelo to overtake Mayweather and Pacquiao, but if he does that and goes and beats Beterbiev, he'd be giving that a run for him. I would put him among those guys in this era. I would put Canelo among those guys ahead of Andre Ward and guys like that. Because remember, pound for pound, this guy's moved up 4 weight classes. If he goes and beats Beterbiev, pound for pound, he's already he's a 4-weight world champion. If he goes and beats Beterbiev, man, that honestly, from a pound for pound status, this guy's one of the greats of all time. He's one of the greats. I'm talking, you could easily put him top 15, top 20, no doubt, no problem. If he goes and beats Beterbiev, we're talking silly now. We're talking silly. Like I say with Pacquiao, if he beats Crawford, then some people will put Pacquiao top 5 now. But for me, that would cement his top 5 status of all time. Right now, he's definitely top 10 for me. But if he beats Crawford, you cannot argue top 5 of all time. If Canelo Alvarez beats Beterbiev with the resume that he's got already, and then beating the #1 light heavyweight at the time, that's a top 15 for me right there. That's a top 15 fighter of all time right there. A 4-weight world champion, an undisputed 168. Don't get me wrong, he's not done it yet. He's not even become undisputed at 168. But listen, man, the reason why I want these fights is because it's a 50-50 fight, and I like the thought of it. I like the fact that Canelo could fight Beterbiev, because for me it's It's an epic fight. It's a great fight. It's a great fight, and us fans deserve it. We deserve a fight like that. Honestly, it would be one of the great fights. It would be one of the great fights of the modern era. Canelo Alvarez, the 4-weight world champion, daring to be great against the Russian Artur Beterbiev, who's a monster right now at light heavyweight, knocking everybody out. Canelo Alvarez, is he going to move up to light heavyweight and dethrone the king at light heavyweight and become one of the greatest fighters of all time? It's there for Canelo. Honestly, it just depends on how much drive and what he'll have after he becomes undisputed. But honestly, I'm with Max Kellerman. I would love to see Canelo Alvarez beat Arthur, or go up and just listen. I've not got a horse in the race. As I'm a Canelo fan, I'd like to see him get the W. But I call it fairly. And to be honest with you, I view that fight as a 50-50 fight. The reason why I want Canelo to do it, because I know a lot of people would write him off in that. And they'd see it as a 50-50. And that would add to Canelo's legacy, which is already stellar, by the way. So for me, Canelo should push for that. Canelo's more than capable of beating someone like Beterbiev. But at the end of the day, what drive is that man going to have after 168? Because let's be honest, for me already, was an all-time great. You know, there's always going to be somebody pop up to fight him. When you're the king like that and you're at the top, there's always going to be somebody that pops up for you to fight. But I think it would make sense. I think it would make sense for him to fight Beterbiev. And then if he wants to call it a day, he can even call it a day. Because for me, he doesn't even have to fight Charlo Andrade after that. Because he would have beaten someone far superior at a higher weight class. And that would end all that rubbish that people say. But let's see, man. Let's see. I'm with Max Kellerman on that. Let's see if it happens. But yeah, guys, I want to digress from that and talk about the live stream. I'm going to be doing a live stream probably around 8:30 today. So when this goes out, I don't know when, about 8:30, maybe 9. I'm going to be putting out a live stream today. So make sure you tune in. I will be doing a live stream today. So yeah, make sure you tune in to that. The live stream will be regarding probably about Conor Ben calling out Khan and Brook. I want to talk a bit about that, and hopefully I'm going to have Salman on there. A lot of you like Salman, so I'll have him on there and we'll be talking boxing. I know a lot of you like listening to him. He's a bit controversial. We get heated sometimes, and it's always great listening to Salman, what he has to say. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what Salman has to say about Conor Ben, Khan and Brook. I'm looking forward to it myself. What is his opinions on it? Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Oh yeah, the other thing is, join all my social media platforms. Go on to Facebook, my Facebook group, my page, Instagram, Twitter. Follow all of my social media platforms. All right. And then yeah, I'll see you guys later in the live. Peace.